10.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Just Put Paint on It, season 4. That's 4 years of us doing amazing painting content. This is the every Friday show where me, Skari, your grateful host, and Tanya, your grateful co-host, hang out with a wonderful guest. Today we've brought on Mr. Dr. Rhino. Mr. Dr.
Hello.
Rhino.
You're a
Yes, I
mister
didn't
and
go
a doctor.
That's
I
right.
didn't go to fake Savannah Medical School to be called Mister. Thank you very much.
There you are. I do apologize. My sincerest apologies to you. But we're having a good time, and I thought it'd be a good time to just sit, chat, paint, and if you haven't already, make sure you check out all the other cool videos in the playlists and stuff like that. But this is a show that we do where we hang out with awesome people in the community, and we hang out with you, chat, and you can put us on in the background and we talk about a variety of topics and things that matter to us. And yeah, that's it. We sit, we paint, sometimes we chat. That's the whole point of the show. That's it. That's the point. So, if my voice
Were you
is
making fun of Skari's hand talking?
No,
I
I hand
am
talk too.
I am
I'm think of me as like the
Spanish.
exuberant hand speak interpreter. Like
There you
I
go.
take hand speak and then I exaggerate it for the average person to now understand. Which makes that doubly awesome. Thumbs up.
Does that mean I have to put my camera a little bit further away like this?
Oh,
There you go.
or
So
even
like
better,
that.
if somebody has us on mute, they're gonna be very confused.
They're gonna be like, "What in the
They're gonna be
world is
like, I
going
need
on?"
to unmute this because what the hell? Like Doc's like throwing like a big like flag on the play sort of hand signal.
Yeah.
Like, did Skari say something to offend?
Yes, I
I
did.
must find out more.
I offend many people. I am the
That'll make
cringe
for a
lord
great
supreme.
thumbnail.
Okay, have you not heard this already? I am the cringe lord.
Is that like a special Drew Kari like
I don't know.
Archon title?
Every time I put up a video, there's somebody being like, "Cringe lord," I'm like, "Please, you must
Our
address
dark
me
cringe
by
lord, thank you.
my full title, Cringe Lord Master Supreme of Cringe." So
Like, I mean, the Drukari are into like, like excess of basically everything. So like, there has to be like an Archon whose whole thing is just making people go,
that's right. That's right.
not in like a gross freak out way, just like saying things like dad jokes.
That's literally what I do. So, before we go down this rabbit hole, a little bit more about myself. Actually, no, I wanted to say hello about chat. Hello, chat. Hi, Shadow Sun, Gnarf, Paul Radcliffe, Pete Deadshot. Nice to see you. Mr. Fish, nice to see you as well. Thanks a lot for coming and hang out. So, before
Did you pronounce the G in Gnarf?
Good do it? What? What did I say? Yes.
Arf.
Gnarf.
Gnarf?
Gnarf.
Okay.
Says greetings from Germany. Hello. Greetings.
Guten Tag.
Yes. Applesaft Beta. Okay.
Nein, sprechen Sie Deutsch.
I do not sprechen Sie Deutsch. I sprechen Sie hand gestures. Which is a universal language. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so, Tanya, who are you? And where can people find you before we get started?
I'm Tanya. You can find me on my YouTube channel and Instagram. I sometimes do the tweets. That's basically it these days.
Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like a great time.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, and now, Mr. Dr. Rhino, please tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from. You do a lot of Twitch streaming, which is, I believe, where in Instagram, which is where I've come to know you from. Is this the right color? Yeah, I thought this is the right color. So please tell us a little bit about who you are and where people can find you.
My name is Dr. Rhino. I stream on Twitch. I've primarily that's where you find me. I post pictures of what I'm working on or pictures of my dogs occasionally on Instagram. And I've had the pleasure to interact with lots of really cool members of the community in my 2 years of painting miniatures as of last month. We've been painting minis for 2 years. And over 1,000 in those 2 years. So maybe one day I'll catch Gear Guts in productivity. But And then you both shake your heads. Oh my god, the hurt. Oh, okay. But anyway, yeah, you can find me on Twitch. I paint minis. I raise money
Sorry,
for
I
charity.
I did not see Tanya shake her head as well. The fact that we both
No,
did
you
at the
both were
same
looking
time.
down, just like, no, absolutely not. No, you won't.
Okay, sorry.
Sweet.
I
Sweet of you
believe
to
in
think
you.
that.
I think I.
Too little,
It
too
is a
late.
toll.
Let me give
It's
you. Let me give the chat. No.
no, no. Oh dear.
And today
Awesome.
I'm building. Today I'm building some Wraithguard with axe and shield.
I forgot to say, but I'm actually painting Gear Guts Mark IV.
Perfect. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What happened to Fred 3?
Stop it.
Did you drop Fred 3?
What is Fred 3?
I know. He's not Mark
Yeah.
4.
Fred 1 standing by. Fred 2 standing by. Fred 3 standing by.
That's right.
I'm
Fred
just
Squad,
gonna ignore the
relax.
behavior that I don't agree with.
Oh yeah, it's gonna make it go away.
A girl
today,
can dream.
today I am painting some barrels. This is from the large batch of barrels that Kyle, Geargut's Mech Shop, painted for me.
He
Boy.
sent you just a couple.
He sent me 500 barrels, resin barrels. So, because I think I said one time on stream, I was like, you know what I need? I'd love to have a bunch of barrels so that I could paint a bunch of barrels and just have them for my games. And then a box of 500 barrels showed up at my door. So,
Lord.
yeah, so that was that's so I've been and I put them on so much terrain. So now I have to go around and paint them all. That's the whole plan. But 2 years of painting miniatures, does that mean you're doing it full time now, or is it something
No,
that you kind of supplement your your income with?
There is the pipe dream of wanting to be a painter like full time, because I think I would truly enjoy it. That would be the happiest I could be, just waking up in the morning knowing I get to go paint all day and like have that be my profession. But no, it's just part time, which I think makes me all the prouder that I've been able to grow as much as I have in the time that I've been painting. Because you do the whole like doom scroll all the way to the bottom of your Instagram and see your first post, and you're like, huh.
Oh my god, my first post.
I've grown so much, and I've gotten to meet so many incredible people, and like I've gotten to like meet you guys and film with Play On, and one day I will shake hands with Dave.
You just have to come down to the bunker.
Yeah,
you
you just have to go
Just
to the
literally
bunker.
come to the bunker and we'll hang out. We'll go out for dinner and go watch a movie or something. It'll be great fun. And you can hang out with Dave all day long.
And because I want Dave to bless my not Abaddon. This is the Serpent King.
Ooh.
I just finished him right before the stream.
Nice.
And he's stomping the bejesus out of a Space Wolf, Ultramarine, any sort of Crimson Fist, any blue Space Marine you're not a fan of. That's what that is.
But I am a fan of Space Wolves.
That's a shout out to all of you out there who hate Space Marines. Dr. Rhino hates Space Marines as well, or is it just Abaddon?
Abaddon is not a fan of them. No. I have 2 Space Marine armies. I have my personal one, the custom chapter for my Twitch channel called the Cosmic Rhinos.
Nice.
And then we also have Dark Angels, because that's what I'm using to teach my father 40K, because he got into 40K. Like, I kept talking about it, and he was like, "Tell me more about that." And I've never heard him do that. And he's like, "Tell me more about that." I'm like, "Well, game minis, so on." And he's like, "I liked Risk when I was growing up." You like Risk? I'm like,
like on steroids?
The way I described it was, if Risk, instead of having 5 colored armies that all had the same like units, it's 27 different colors, all with different sizes and shapes of armies that all have different rules.
Yeah.
And he's like,
I'm
okay. Exactly. But he said, like, "I don't want to paint anything." Deal. I'll do that. And I thought Dark Angels was a great starter army, because 1, it's Space Marines, and 2, Dark Angels color code their units. So it was really easy for him to just look on the table and be like, which are my really tough guys? Oh, the guys in tan.
Right.
Which guys go really fast? Oh, the bikes that are black and white.
Yeah.
So it's
That
Valley
actually
has
makes
like
a lot of
3,000
sense, color
bikes.
coding your stuff. See, my dad, when I was teaching my dad how to play back in the day, it was very much a show me, like, you play this game, teach me how to play this game so I can like do something with you, like father son
Oh,
stuff. And this was like like many years ago. And that's when he got into the Talarn though, because he loved the idea of like, you know, rough desert raiders and all piling in and out of like mechanized infantry, like the Rough Riders, which he loved. And Talarn back in the day had their own Rough Riders. They um, that had like actual Talarn Rough Riders. They weren't the Attilan Rough Riders, right? Um, and it was and he went and he bought like all the stuff, and all those models are still in the ones that I use today for my guard. And he of course went to do his doctorate and teaching and stuff, and ended up not playing as much as he used to. But yeah,
I color coded my guard, so like all my fast units are black.
nice.
Huh. Funny how that works. All my artillery is green, and then like my sort of heavy
Right.
slots are gray, and then my troop transports are camo of all of the colors. But I didn't do it to like help me see it on the table, but it does help me see it on the table.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I think, like, do you like? And this is a question out for chat. Do you color code your stuff? I use a lot of color coding mainly for like unit sergeants and champions and stuff like that. A lot of times I'll have like a different color helmet or whatever, and it's not necessarily because, like, of course it's Dark Eldar, so they're not exactly like following a Codex Astartes paint scheme or whatever it is. But it's mainly so that I don't get confused in the middle of a game. That's
oh yeah.
literally why I do it. I'm like, because I want to be able to pick up a model and go, or look at a combat that has like 3 different units in it and know exactly who my sergeant is, so I know where the power sword or the power fist or whatever is or whatnot, to be like, okay, that guy, I need to make sure he's in coherency, or he's going to be the last one to die, so I need to make sure he's like, in a good position or whatever. So I color
Or
code
God
all my stuff
forbid
too.
excuse me, God forbid you charge and he's like the one that's out of combat because you like couldn't identify. That's happened to me multiple times.
Either that or like you start taking casualties and you have to like take it on, and you put like the non-sergeant on the objective, and you're like, dang it, if I kill my sergeant, I'll have a higher likelihood of failing my morale now. But I need to make sure I have somebody on this objective. So sucks to be me. I guess I made that mistake. Yeah, I've made that mistake a few times as well.
I think that I'm quite sort of conscious about making sure that my squads are differentiated from one another. So all my infantry squads have different color shoulder pads and stuff. And now I'm even more conscious about it because I can't be sure somebody cheated me because of it. It could have just been a mistake, but they didn't differentiate their squads, and I lost the game because of it.
How
So
convenient.
yeah, so for me, I don't want that to ever come up in one of my games. Is like me being the problem. So I'm sort of reassessing my night haunt that I'm working on and being like, okay, how am I going to differentiate these squads because they don't really have a lot of doodads and thingamajigs on them, and
Yeah.
so I'm still working that out. I think I have an idea of what I want to do, but
Yeah, that
we'll
makes
see.
sense.
Yeah.
As long as and the thing is, because it's a creative hobby, you can literally do whatever you want to, like, in terms of paint scheme and color scheme. Like, don't let anyone tell you differently. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to paint all your guys bright pink and whatever color, it's completely fine. But in terms
Just
of,
differentiate your squads, please.
yeah, and even if it's like, one squad's gonna be bright pink, one squad's gonna be bright yellow, one squad's gonna have, orange tassels, one's gonna have teal tassels or whatever it is. Some people do it by the weapon color. These weapons are red, these weapons are blue. It literally doesn't have to be overly complicated. But it definitely, I find it helps me personally when I'm playing. So, and it
Yeah, as the
makes me
person
use
who
less
plays,
brain
like if
power.
like Skari plays Skari's army, you know what your stuff looks like, so you don't have to necessarily make it super obvious
Yeah,
what little things you've changed because you know where to look.
yeah,
Like if the tassels on weapons are the indicator, you just look at those really quick. You're like, okay, green squad's over there, blue squad's over here.
yeah.
My Space Marines are like carbon copies across the entire board because that was like my very first army, and I was still getting used to just painting in general. So there's nothing really to differentiate them except for my Outriders. The only thing I did differently with them was the stripe down the center of the bikes. One is a dark desaturated purple, the next is a dark desaturated red,
Yeah.
and the one after that is a dark desaturated blue. Which that
Mm-hmm.
I felt very clever, but also those were some of the last units that I painted. So goes to show that with time I realized the wisdom of your words that you say to the people now.
Just put paint on it, folks. So,
Just put paint on it.
yeah.
Different colored paint.
Prankster Alex, thank you so much. My one and only YouTube member right now. So thanks, Alex. Really appreciate it. I literally posted the next Crusade episode, and that's actually in the membership vault right now. And then it goes to Patreon on Tuesday next week. Anyway, so if you want to watch it, just saying, Mr. Alex, you can indeed. I guess you're barreling through the paint job. Thank you. I definitely am. Are you finished or are you barrel done? Get it? Shadow Sun says, still trying to get to know through controversy, not working. Orcish Mama says, woo, I made it. Hey, Orcish Mama, what's going on?
Hey, Orcish Mama.
MMF, make my fun. Color-coded demons. Yay. Yeah, it works. I've seen that a lot. Isn't your dad that got you into the rule of 9, says Pete? Yes, my dad got me into the rule of 9, more like developed the rule of 9, or the law of 9s, which is I'm going to go into this rant again. I love this rant, by the way. Not a rant, but like this lecture. Are you ready? Are you ready for this lecture again?
Tell me what you got.
Okay. So, the law of 9s is definitely something my dad, a doctor, may I add.
A real doctor,
A
not
doctor
a me doctor.
in physics and in astronomy. Okay, so he knows his numbers and maths and stuffs. Just because that adds weight and credence to what I'm just about to say. It's fantastic. So him and I, like, we were playing, like, back in the day when he was learning how to play for Warhammer. We played in an edition, like 4th edition or 3rd edition Warhammer, which is like way back in the day. And back in the day, when you were building an army list, you could. There was a force organization slot, which was like what we call a battalion nowadays. And if you were going to go to a tournament, there was something called composition. And in the composition of the tournament, you got penalized, or you weren't really allowed to take more than 25% of your points in HQs. You had to have at least 40% of your points in troop choices, and you couldn't have 25% or more of your army in like upgrades. Like you couldn't spend more than 25% more of your points in just upgrades for like your different units and stuff like that.
No Hero Hammer for you. Gotcha.
Well, you could still do it. But yes, it was definitely because of Hero Hammer that kind of became a thing. Anyway, so he developed the Law of 9s, which was you divide the total point level by 9. Okay, so if you're playing 2,000 points, it's 222 points or something like that, or 233 points or something. Okay, so you divide it by 9. Okay, and you have to put 1/9 of your point value into each of the force organization slots except for troops, where you put 4 of those to have a good block of troops that can do objectives and things like that. Which means you've got 1 HQ right? One ninth worth of points in HQs, so that's 200 and some points. You've got 1/9 in fast attack, heavy support, and elites, and then you have 4/9, which is 888 points or something, and for 2,000 points in troops. You following me so far?
I think so, yes.
Okay, so that,
Which,
if you add it all together, only makes 8 sections, right? 8/9. So you have one sort of like floater section. And that floater section is where you add sort of like the theme to your list by picking like a force organization slot that you would like to sort of focus your efforts on and double up on a 9th there. So in his case, he was a guard army, so he would spend it usually on heavy support. So he'd have 2/9 worth of the points in heavy support, and then he'd have the rest of the split. And that would force him to build an army that had not as many upgrades, right? And would have tools to play the mission. And his armies were always really good. And I thought he was crazy because he's my dad. And I've never really used it until I started like taking a look at lists that I took to tournaments that I felt were very good, balanced lists, and finding out that my lists were just fitting into that sort of style without even knowing it. And the point allocations of my lists were already really, really close to what my dad had kind of put into writing, basically. And from then on, I was like, oh shit, there's something here. So every time I build a list, especially for like filming at like mini wargaming or with a faction that I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's like a brand new faction, or I don't know like what's strong and what's not, I just follow that formula basically, and it gives me a list that has a little bit of everything, that can play the missions well, and that has the chance to like win every game. And it's honestly something I've used for, I don't know, 18 years or something. Yeah, long time.
So, how do all those SKU lists and stuff fit into it? Remember when you played
They-
all those racks?
Yeah, those don't fit into it at all.
Ah, okay.
That's definitely the law of nines is not to build a SKU list, not at all.
But you said it was 180 racks, right?
Uh,
180
oh yeah,
is
divided
divisible by 9.
I didn't play. I never played 180 racks. I played 120.
Not divisible by 9.
It's not.
Yeah.
Nuts.
So there you go.
Theory busted.
Theory destroyed. Anyway, back to the chat. My
Back
units
up,
are
please.
identified by miniature playing cards. Neat. Bring
I
Lord
use those for
playing cards.
Oh no, so someone in the Tabletop Titans, I don't know if they made them or just found them, but right when Chaos Knights had come out and it was evident that the Dark Blessings weren't in the deck of cards that you got, someone designed some Magic the Gathering style flip cards for the all the blessings with the favored abilities and whatnot, and I just have those sitting behind my Chaos Knights
Nice.
while I play, and they just follow them around the table so I don't get confused on who's got what.
Well, that's not terrible then.
Cards are what's up.
Lenart, you ask if I'm excited about the new guard models. I am. I'm very excited about new models. Yeah. Mr. Paul Murphy is going to be sending me the Kasserkin from the Kill Team box.
Ooh.
So I know I'm so excited. And there's a guy that's been playing Kill Team locally, so I'm gonna like ask him to teach me how to play it. And yeah, I'm
Well, that's
excited to
exciting.
get those. Yeah, and I'm gonna buy the new box because I don't have any armored sentinels, and yeah, everybody needs more stuff, right?
I do love those. I love the look of those new Sentinel models. I think they're really neat looking.
I hope
chainsaw
that.
arm.
Yes, I'm so glad that it's actually a chainsaw arm instead of that goofy little chainsaw that's like underneath the No, it's underneath the sentinel like this.
So very phallic.
Yeah, kind of, but also like just not useful at all.
Also pointless. Like it's literally a pointless upgrade. It does
Yeah.
nothing. It literally does absolutely
Yeah.
nothing. Like what? Like I don't even know what they were thinking when they were like, you know what, a
Yeah.
sentinel really needs an extra attack. Not like an attack profile that's like useful. No, just
No,
one
no, yeah.
extra attack
No
that does
AP,
that
no
does nothing.
nothing.
You know what? Because guard will like pay because they suck in combat. Like this, oh my god, this is gonna be just like what the doctor ordered. No, it is not what the doctor ordered. What the heck?
I will
This doctor
admit
doesn't
that
play guard.
I'm
Yeah.
not excited I'm not excited for like the new rules, which I probably should be, but I think I just struggled too long with guard with like no love whatsoever coming from Games Workshop that I think it might be ruined for me, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, hopefully it is not ruined for you, and we'll see what the rules are when they come out. But we shall see, folks. We shall see.
If they're busted, I don't want to play them.
Yeah.
See, I think they will be busted until like a month and a half later when 10th edition is announced with a new Space Marine version 2.0 codex, and then guard immediately go back down to D tier. And then all the true guard fans pick them back up. Much like
Yeah,
my
maybe.
buddy plays Age of Sigmar, and he is a huge fan of the grots. He loves the grot aesthetic.
Gloomspike gets, you mean?
Yes, Gloomspike gets.
Yeah.
And he has his little stabas is like, I think he has like 120 of them. All
Is this Matt?
Yeah, it is Matt Yee.
Okay.
And he loves those things, and he said that if the Gloomspike Gits book came out and it was the most busted book in the game, he would not want to play his army. And I've come to agree with that. I'm like anti-meta chasing. It's like our sister is really
It's like
good
almost
right
in
now, I'm not
protest,
gonna
you know what I
play him.
mean? And that's exactly what happened to me with Dark Eldar when they were silly.
They were very silly.
Yep.
You played like weird lists and stuff, right?
I played everything that was not meta, and even then it was like it was like literally pushing crayons up my nose. So I was like, I'm done with this. So I played everything else. I played like Craft World Eldar when they were crap, right? Because nobody played Craft World, and I was like, I'll play Craft World. I played my Black Templar. That's when I got all my Black Templars painted up and ready, because nobody played Black Templars. And yeah,
That's what this list is, by the way. It's pure Craft World Eldar. It's you'll enjoy this. It's actually very fluffy. I didn't even realize it when we were making the list, but it is incredibly fluffy. Patrol detachment with Uriel and 2 units of like 7 or 6 1 of 7, 1 of 6 Corsairs, both with like a heavy blaster.
Yeah.
That's the patrol. Done. Then a Vanguard detachment with 2 Spirit Seers, 2 units of 5 Wraith Blades with axe and shield, 2 units of 5 Wraith Guard with the regular Melta guns, and 2 Wraith Seers, and then a super heavy detachment with a Wraith Knight.
Nice.
And that like it's just as many Wraith units as I could shove into a single list and have it still be useful, and then we just like Salt Bayed some flavor over it.
Nice.
Salt Bay? Salt Bay. Is that his name?
That's the name of the meme.
Okay.
The name of the meme.
I didn't know he had a name. You learn something new every day.
Yep. Unfortunately, this time it wasn't useful information.
No. Alex says, how about confirmation of those Tomb Kings making a return in 2023?
Yeah, baby. Oh, I'm so excited. I saw that post today, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's my Tomb Kings, baby. Oh, I can't wait. I've got like 2 boxes of Tomb Kings just in the back, just waiting. So really excited about that.
Tomb Kings were a faction that, I mean, like I said, I'm only 2 years in the hobby, but I wanted to get into Age of Sigmar and I just couldn't find a faction that really grabbed me. And maybe Tomb Kings would be it, because if they're bringing a
enough
faction back,
tentacles?
they probably no. I do need to be physically grabbed by my models. But if Tomb Kings are coming back, that usually means that GW is planning a model revamp, and I'll reevaluate, see if the Tomb Kings or the new Bretonians were the other ones coming back.
Bretonians, they're probably gonna bring back some of the orc stuff and whatnot. Like, there's probably a whole bunch of stuff that they're kind of planning towards getting back. But Tomb Kings are one of those like iconic factions, you know, that's just so cool, so cool looking.
Shouldn't have put this.
So do you get to
arm
play a
shield
lot,
on.
or do you just do mainly painting?
I don't play as much as I would like, but recently my local game store has started doing a quarterly event where it, rather than being a super competitive event, it's all fluffy, fun goof off games. And I love that because that's more my speed.
Yeah.
So I at least once a quarter am participating in a day-long event, and my dad comes by once a week. And because he's a very busy man, and most of the days I'm working from home, but I still have work, so we quickly run through like 1 or 2 battle rounds of a game of Tempest,
Nice.
and then he like goes off to continue to run errands, and I go back to work. And so in that way, yes, I think I do play more than at first glance it would seem I do. But yeah, most of my time is spent hobbying and painting.
I'm glad you get some games in though. I love Tempest. Like for 40K, Tempest is like such a great way to play 40K.
I agree. It's my favorite way to play.
Yeah, it's my favorite way to play as well. Like, well, other than Crusade. I think Crusade's like my first favorite, and then Tempest, and then like Nephilim. Even though, like, it's just like I understand Nephilim. I'm good at it or okay at it, but like, meh. It's good. It's good. I enjoy it. I like playing competitive games, but like, it's not the same as like playing Drunken Commander, and your command, like, you get the order to go, like, take the objective that's half the way across the table, and you don't have any models that fly, and you're like, okay, well, how the hell am I going to do that? Or, and I like that better. Like the problem solving, that's my jam. That's my jam.
Yeah, I really like Tempest because it forces you to be more of a general rather than just have a list that does 3 things really well.
Yeah.
And it's really funny that we're talking about how much we love Tempest. I just out of curiosity had decided to see if there had been any recent comments on my sister's game with Playon. And the second most recent comment was, "Stop playing Tempest." Just Tempest, like PISS. It's shit. And I'm like, what? That's the best game format, because like if you're trying to be, if you're going to tournaments all the time, okay, that's a specific thing. But
if that person is watching, I'm just gonna say, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. If you don't like those games, you just gotta stop watching Playon.
It's because it's such a fun format that forces you to bring an all-rounders list.
Yep. You need to be little at everything. And I love it because it takes as well the pressure off of that whole secondary picking. Like the amount of times that, I've seen someone pick a secondary that comes to bite them in the butt. Or I pick a secondary that I'm like, shit, I shouldn't have picked that secondary, and I notice, halfway through the game or whatever, that it's going to be an issue. Like, it's so much pressure on that initial, like, oh, I better pick the right thing, or I have to live with that consequence for the entire game. And it can be
It is a very feels bad moment.
Yeah, it can be really, like, not fun. You know what I mean? Be like, shit. I picked this secondary because I thought it would be, like, decent enough, and now, in clarity, like, 3 turns later, I'm like, this is a shit secondary, and I should have picked it. And now, because I picked it, I'm just messed up for the rest of the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
I'm thinking about it in terms of, like, battle reports, though, right? Because with the mission packs changing so often, it makes battle reports not evergreen.
Yes, that is also true.
Right? So by having the card missions that like really never change, it means that at least until those change, which I don't think that they will, that those will be sort of relevant battle reports. Also, like competitive battle reports just don't do as well. They just don't do as well as more narrative or fun or like armies that look more interesting on the table. Those
Yeah.
always do better in terms of like the numbers, right? So
See 120 racks.
yeah, like if you want to go watch 120 racks and a super competitive battle report, there are places where you can do that. But in terms of like some battle report channels, I just don't think that that kind of uh, content actually appeals to their wider audience. So
Yeah, especially once like when for example, play on, they put so much effort into making it a story, with JT doing the narration and like they're actually writing out a story and they're crafting it all together. There's a lot of production value that goes into it and they want to make sure they do a battle report that you can put on 3 years from now or 4 years from now and it's still entertaining. You know what I mean? Like it's not and a lot of the competitive gaming, so when you play competitively, a lot of the stuff you do is literally just because you need to get points to win, right? It has no
yeah,
value in terms of like entertainment value or anything like that. It's more like my brain tells me that I need to do this. Like I played a game this week, for example, and it was against somebody who's played the game for like longer than I have been alive. You know what I mean? Like literally, he's like he came down to the mini wargaming and played and was playing, and we played match play because he's like, I want to play Nephilim. I was like, okay, cool. And so we played like a Nephilim game, and there was a point in the game where he shot like I played Admech actually, which was really fun. He shot his like Redemptor Dreadnought at my unit of horse dogs. What are they called? The little horse things.
the Cerberus.
The Raiders. Yeah. The Raiders. Okay.
Yeah.
And he had his unit of Blade Guard right next to them as well. But I didn't really have enough command points to do the like fullback after you charge me thing. So he made a bunch of damage with his bolters and his Gatling and his plasma, and I was like, I'm going to take it on their armor save, and they're all dead now. And he's like, wait, why did you want to do that? And I was like, so that you don't charge me. And and I want them to die, so your Blade Guard veteran don't get extra movement. You know what I mean? And because that's like a very match play way of thinking. You know what I mean? Where you're like doing things that feel and sound counterintuitive to like what you think you would want, which is to keep your units alive because it's a story and they need to live to go back, to like live to fight another day. Whereas in match play, like the thought process is totally different. Now that might be the case in that when that battle report comes out, but like when a new mission pack comes out or a new codex or a new, you know what I mean? That might not be relevant anymore. Like that is not evergreen content. And it's really just a thing you do if you want to win the game. If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, dang it.
Okay, going back to the chat.
Yeah.
Orcs now own Hyundai. Yes, we did see that meme. That was funny. Or that screenshot. Tempest shenanigans are best shenanigans. Shadow Sun says you sacrifice people in real wars as well. Sure, but it's
a good general doesn't.
A good general makes calculated sacrifice, right? But doesn't just like there's no point in just wasting a resource, right? Which sadly in war people are resources, which is kind of how it's looked at.
Yep.
But that is a topic for another video, which we're not going to go over in this video. So, what is one of the favorite things you've painted, Dr. Rhino? In your 2 years of painting, is there any project that you're like, oh, this is really awesome, and I wish I could do it again or paint more of it, etc.?
That's a good question. There's been a lot of things that I've painted that I'm really proud of for various reasons. Like the entirety of my sister's army.
Mm-hmm.
Like taking something from concept to not just one specific model of a vision to being able to extrapolate and expand that into a full army concept.
Yeah.
I'm very, very proud of that. Things that I'm building, like I'm working on armigers specifically for my sisters, and I'm using stuff that was never meant for that, but it's working out really nicely because they're actually the right size and everything's working out. So I think these should be very interesting once they're painted and ready to go. But actual recent paint jobs that I'm really proud of, I'd actually have to say Abaddon.
Nice.
Abaddon turned out great, and my big night. This night, I think, was another one that I'm very.
Oh, that looks. I love the parchment. That's a desecrator for anybody who's wondering.
It's,
Did you?
well, it's any night because I magnetize the arms.
Oh, okay, night.
So
Nice.
I can make it a rampager, desecrator, despoiler.
That's another cool thing to do is to magnetize stuff if you have the patience for it. I've done
Knights
it.
are like baby's first magnetization job, in my opinion, because you really only have to magnetize 2 things, and then you can turn one model into
Like
4?
a bunch of models. Yeah. I've magnetized my Scourge, like Dark Eldar Scourge, but only 2 squads. I have 20 Scourge. I've only magnetized like 8 of them out of the bunch that I have. Mainly because the weapons always change that are important, like edition to edition. They tend to be like, this codex, this weapon is the best, and you're like, shit, you know. This codex, this weapon is the best.
You know what's funny? So, Alex McDougall sent me a message. He's like, "Can I borrow some of your tanks?" And I was like,
Oh no.
But we were talking about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not going to be playing them, but you know, you promised to protect them with your life and whatever. And then I sort of like thought about it, and I was like, you know, man, all the stuff that's going to be good is the stuff that I don't have, because that's the way it works. Like,
I thought the rule was whatever was bad in the current codex will be good in the new one.
yeah, but I don't own any of that
It's
stuff.
hit or miss.
Okay,
It's
well, I guess
literally hit or miss. Like, we say that, and sometimes that is true, but other times it's like, okay, you just made it shit again. You know?
I know.
Just
Like, every time I
okay.
see a Hydra in a store, I'm like, oh, those are going to be like the best in the new codex, because they are unusable right now.
The Deathstrike missile is going to become what a Deathstrike missile should be. That's actually, if there's anything that comes out of the new Guard Codex, that is something I want to have happen. I want the Deathstrike missile to go into the Supreme Command slot. I want it to be like
just half the
400
board.
points, and then and you can shoot it whenever you want after turn 1, and then it's just a 10-inch circle that
just
everything just takes mortals.
Oof, that would be. That I do feel like that would be an iconic unit. That would be like, you kind of want it to be big and scary because it's a giant rocket, you know? It's just like that iconic giant rocket that'll like launch and there's nothing you can do once it launches, sort of thing, you know? Like, oh crap. At the same time, like, the fact that that rocket is, you know, when you look at the spatial awareness of a game of Warhammer 40,000, like, have you ever thought about how small the area is that they actually fight in? Like, if you were to look at it in terms of scale, you know, they're literally fighting over less than a city block. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a whole game of 40K is played on a tiny fraction of space.
Yeah, it's interesting because we were actually having this conversation in my like local wargaming group chat, because we were talking about like the scale of the game, right? And I said, like, regardless of what any Warhammer player wants to say, like, we are still playing a skirmish game. Like, Red Powell explained it to me because he is a major in the U.S. Army, but he's also like a war gamer, and he was like, yeah, like he is in control of more material than like you see on the board. Like, it is a skirmish game. It is like a snapshot of a snapshot of a snapshot of a wider mission that's going on at one point.
Right.
But and for that reason, I have a really hard time with like Titanic units and stuff like that. I just feel like one, they should probably be bigger, and two, I don't know, they just like break my belief that it's a skirmish.
Right.
Yeah,
Unless you're playing in the big game, then it's not a skirmish. Now, the big game's
that's
very
right.
big. But even then, in the scale of like planet, right? Like that
Yeah,
would be like a kilometer or whatever. Like it's literally like
Yeah.
nothing in terms of how big
yeah,
in scale it can be. Like if you want to play big scale, you play like Epic, and you can actually like then you
yeah.
play like a big area or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Austin says, yeah, that's why they made Epic. Yeah, Epic is really fun. I have 3 Epic armies, right? 3 and they're really really cool looking to play, and it's a really fun game system. Oh man, and then
And
and then you play like Dawn of War. Do you ever play like the original Dawn of War games?
Nope.
no,
Okay, so the
I
original Dawn of War
tried Dawn
game.
of War 2 and I did not have a good time, so I
Dawn of War
stopped.
2, totally different. Get yourself the original Dawn of War. Play that. It is really fun with all the expansions. That's probably
I'm
one of
not.
the best RTS games they've ever made.
I don't do real time strategy. Sorry.
But in that game, right, you have
Age of
your
Empires, StarCraft 2. Come at me, bro.
that's right. Hey, you want to play StarCraft anytime, buddy. You and me, let's just go. Original brood
You'd have to like reteach me the game. I
yeah,
played
I
in
haven't played it in a
college.
long time.
I was a Protoss player, and I had one strat, and
Yep.
that was 3-gate rush. That's
Yep.
all I could do.
Yeah.
Not 5-gate, not 1-gate. I could only do 3-gate rush. That was
I'd
the
have
only thing I
my
had the time.
fire bats up and ready before you even thought
Oh,
about
yeah.
your gates, buddy. Okay, so, but yes, it is the best. And when you're playing in that game, like a firefight, right, which was the size of your screen, like you play on your screen, right, and there'd be like you could have a giant battle happening in your screen, and it was just that little screen. There was literally a game of 40k happening within 6 seconds. It like you'd have like 3 units of tactical marines, a predator, a dreadnought, the terminators come in, your character, and then your opponent would kind of meet, and you'd kind of have a battle. But like that game or that battle, that firefight lasted 6 to 10 seconds in game time, but that was literally like a 40k game happening in real time with the amount of models that you had, right? So, and it's literally just in your screen. It's like a couple of craters, maybe a ruin or whatever, and it was crazy. Yeah, it was really neat.
You know, that actually it makes things seem like when you frame it like that as like a snapshot, especially in an RTS game where like, yeah, you have like, the small like quarter of the map size battle, two of your armies like come smashing into each other. Yeah, you got reserves and things fighting elsewhere and scouting, but well, bam, these things crash into each other, a couple units either side. The fight, like even with micro, only takes upwards of 10 to 15 seconds, and then it's over. But the larger battle is still going on. And thinking about 40k in at scale, even D&D, a battle round is 6 seconds.
6 seconds, yeah. Like in order for you to go through a minute, you have to have 10 turns. And a lot of the times the encounter is done before you have 10 turns. Right?
Yeah. So I think that's actually a really interesting way of imagining like the 40k battle is you're watching a fight that takes place over the course of if an actual battle round in if a battle round in D&D is 6 seconds, maybe a battle round in Warhammer is like in real time is like maybe a minute and a half. And just imagining that your entire game plays out over 6 minutes.
Yep.
Is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You got 6 minutes to get the objective.
Yeah. It's like a flash.
Not
You
3
go in.
hours.
Yeah. It's a flash. You go in like, and it's you go, I go, whatever. Like you have your turn, I have my turn. But in reality, everything's happening at the same time. You know what I mean? And like a battle happens, and casualties are not always just they're dead. It's more like they're pulling wounded away, or they're, you know what I mean? Like the casualties are not just, they're just incapacitated for like being effective in battle, sort of thing, right? It's not just that they're dead. So when you look at it that way, there's like, it's some really cool like scale stuff. And I always look at that sort of thing and go, yeah, like at the end of the day, it's like this tiny little point in time in a universe that's so massive. And it's like this one little bit on this one planet in this massive, like, massive scale. Anyway, it's crazy. The Sandman says, will Dr. Rhino be collecting the Corn Juggernaut? He's basically a 40k Rhino.
With a chainsaw horn.
Chainsaw horn.
If I do, and I am inclined to get it, but I'll tell you that if I do, I'm going to be converting the hell out of it because that rider, I sleep. The Juggernaut itself, great. The rider, I was like, eh.
You didn't like the rider.
I did not like the rider, but that's just me being persnickety about my particular aesthetic choices. So I do like that. I do like that model. I probably will pick it up eventually because I like having, like, my whole philosophy is do a custom color scheme on a force that you really like, which not only is an army like that looks the way you want it to, but then you have the freedom to play it as whatever you want.
Yeah.
So like I'll make my own Khorne Berserkers eventually. So I can play my Chaos Space Marines as World Eaters, should I choose to.
Nice.
So that then means that there will be, you know, Lords on Juggernauts and so on, and it will. I'll probably cover it in a few more armor panels, make it look a little bit more like a Rhino, just for funsies.
Did you see in the article where they like showed off the pictures of the new one? They showed the original one, like the original metal one. Did you see it? It is the cutest, most Fisher Price Warhammer 40k model that I've ever seen in my life. I was like, can somebody please make this in plastic, but like make it so that the Juggernaut is like a bobblehead, because it would be so adorable. Please.
That's so funny. I could see you playing with that little bobblehead Juggernaut. That would be so funny. You'd be like, oh, look at him go!
So adorable!
Look at him go! He's got a little horn! He's got a little horn! He's gonna go murder you! Skulls! Skulls, he says!
But like, it's so cute! And like, when we were talking about it on Forge the Narrative, I guess that's a spoiler, I couldn't see red, but like I could imagine the veins on the side of his head like popping out as I'm describing this thing as a Fisher Price like World Eater model, because that's like his babies, right?
I looked it up. You can see you can kind of see it, chat, on my screen.
It's so cute.
That's so funny.
Oh no, but you could put him in a sock and like brain somebody with him.
Onward, noble steed.
That's usually
Destroy
how it
the
works.
Imperium. Oh, isn't he cute? Flip.
Look at my bunny ears. I'm going to cosplay at a convention now, he says.
Yeah, between those guys, or like metal models like that, where that is, like you said, that's literally a brick, and the old metal dreadnoughts, which I have one of as well, like an old pewter one, because I don't know, got dumped and went on eBay. But
my husband is in the chat, and he's like, I used to own that Juggernaut. Of course you did, Ryan. Of course you did.
Yeah, those OG models, you know, like I look back and I'm like, man, I should have kept so many of my old models because people love them and they gain like street cred over time almost. You know what I mean?
What are some of the old models have like nicknames, like Harry the Hammer? Is there one called Harry the Hammer?
Yeah, but he was like an old like fantasy one, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He got a model redone, didn't he?
I don't know.
I just know the names. And also, I'm looking at the Warhammer community image again for that Juggernaut guy. I think the thing that I don't like is the head. So I think if I just do a head swap and maybe a little bit of green stuffing with some other details, I think it'll be less work for me than I initially anticipated. But overall, yeah, that model is really cool looking. It is basically a Rhino. So good call, chat.
By Rhino, we mean rhinoceros. And
so I have decided that I'm going to just paint like Space Wolf models that I want to, and I actually have like a Space Wolf. It's so small, but it's like a pewter dreadnought as well. So I think at some point I'm gonna have to paint that in my new Space Wolf color, because I just want to collect all like the cool Space Wolf stuff and not worry too much about playing with it. So
Well,
It is
Space Wolves do have a
perfectly
lot of cool
valid.
stuff, so.
Yeah, I can't think of a Space Marine faction that has more currently available, or actually just over the course of their entire existence, more bespoke models for their specific Space Marine faction. 'Cause
Yeah,
you
it
have like the little
pisses Adam
wolves or the guys.
Camilleri off.
Which okay, but which chapter do you think does not have like nearly enough representation in that space that
Ultramarines.
should?
No, I actually think Dark
Just like,
Angels.
Really?
just like every release is
Yeah.
an Orc release, every Space Marine release is an Ultramarines release.
They are, yes, that is very true. Yeah, that I think Iron
I want
Hands have
Raven
a few
Guard.
things, maybe like one character guy. Raven Guard, they have a character and some
They have
stuff,
one
right?
character. They have the most emo Space Marine of all time,
They do. They do.
Shrike.
Raven Shrike.
But like, so I'm not super.
thorns?
Oh God. I am not too familiar with like a lot of the lore, but I feel like I've read a lot about the Dark Angels so far in the Horus Heresy series, and like there's a lot of characters in there. So like I imagine that there would be a lot of characters of note from like the 40k stuff in the lore as well, but I just feel like there's not a lot of characters, like named characters in the line right now.
That are current models, you are correct. But yeah, there are models going back to like Metal and Finecast for Azrael, Asmodai, Belial.
I think they should kill off some characters that try to go Rubicon and actually die. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like,
controversial.
you know, they were like, oh, yay, Helbricht, you know, he's Primaris now. Oh, yay, you know, like, Grimaldus, he's Primaris now. You know, they did all this stuff for the Black Templars. You know, they should have just been like, oh, Helbricht tried to get Primarisized. Oh, he dead. So this is the new guy. You know, like, I
It's
feel like,
Grimaldus.
yeah.
High Marshal Grimaldus. That's what I want.
Ooh, that would be cool, actually.
Because I'm super like, okay, I'm not the biggest Black Templars fan, but after watching Hell's Reach on YouTube, I'm like, Helbrecht, you're a jerk. I do not like you because you're like, this guy's really good at his job. I'm gonna go send him to die for literally no reason. And I'm just like, you're wasteful resources person. Why did the Custodes protect you?
I don't know. All I know is I enjoyed that book. That book is great.
As for why the Custodes protect people, it's because the Emperor tells them to.
They think.
Exactly. But that's why.
But I mean, like, yeah, like I'd like walk up to those. Which one is it? The Aquilin Shield guys, just like lurking in the shadows, like you don't see us. 8 foot tall, golden armored man.
10 foot tall, but yes,
10 foot
continue.
why are you watching over that street shot? Oh, the Emperor says he's really special. Well, he's not.
Well, he's dead now. He tried to cross the Rubicon. He's dead. Well, we don't have to worry about it anymore.
Congrats, you saved him to lead, like, quote unquote lead one crusade, and then he died because he wanted to be a bigger boy.
Yep. He could only be one size fits all. Trueborn Space Marines for the win. You will never have my heart, Primaris. Even though my whole army is now Primaris because that's the way that the design team is going. But before we finish up for the day, Dr. Rhino, why don't you tell folks who are watching where they can find you, and if you have any projects coming up, feel free to let people know about them and how they can get involved.
Sure. Again, everyone, I'm Dr. Rhino and then an underscore on Twitch and Instagram. If you guys want to stop by, I'm actually streaming tonight. Tonight, 6 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Usually we go a bit later on Friday nights. Projects wise, I'm gonna see if I can do the what I need to do to finish this Eldar army is the Spirit Seer, 5 Wraith Blades, and then a Wraith Knight. I'm gonna see if I can finish that before the end of the month.
Nice.
And so join to see if I can do it. I will be able to do it. Just anyway. And anything else? Nope, that's it.
Awesome.
That's all I got.
That's no problem at all. Make sure you check it out. I'll put the link in the comments so you can check out Dr. Rhino on Twitch and or Instagram. Make sure you go over and give him some love. But thank you so much for coming on. This has been really fun. Love it like this. We're talking about love. We do love you. That's why we bring you on. Tanya, before we finish up, where can folks find the amazing Tanya Gates?
You can find me on my YouTube channel. I've sort of taken
right now.
I've sort of taken to making little snapshot tiny videos about how to play Warhammer, but I might branch out into doing Age of Sigmar or other games. We'll see. And you can find me on Forge the Narrative podcast. New episodes out every Saturday. You can find me on my Patreon, Discord. I'm just not gonna lie, that's where I'm usually the most active. And Instagram. And that's basically it.
Absolutely. Best videos for list building, says Orcish Mama. Yeah, 100%.
I like to give like the visual, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I like to give a visual.
It is a visual.
Okay.
You got it.
I thought that was another one of these. That was definitely aggressive. Anyway, thanks a lot for hanging out, everybody, for episode 3, season 4. Make sure you head on over and check out all the other videos that we've done for the Just Put Paint on It series. All of season 3 is on the playlist, and of course, all of season 4 will be on this playlist as we go. We are live every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like this content, you can support by becoming a patron or a YouTube member. If you want to order some Skari dice, send me an email, because we've sold like 1,000 dice in a week, and I'm going to run out. If you want some, let me know. Other than that, it has been amazing hanging out with all of you today. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe, and we do this every Friday. Don't forget to hashtag Just Put Paint on It.
Just put that paint on it, y'all.
Just put that paint. Just put that paint on it. That paint on it. Paint, not the pain on it, but the paint on it.
You played Yukari. Just put.
I know. I was just gonna say you're an Archon.